Hi everyone, welcome back to the Uncle Go podcast. My name is Borna, I'm the host of the show, and today we have Dušan Bogdanović returning to the podcast. Hello Dušan, how's it going?
Hi Borna, it's great to be here. I know you kind of mentioned you kind of get a bit nervous. I'm actually quite relaxed before being a guest on your podcast. Don't know what's the reason, must be the energy that you send out, but it's great to be here. It's my third or fourth time, but
I think it's the third one, and the second one was on the creation one, I think.
That's true, yeah. So third time, love being here, and I love your work. Love the new videos that you're putting out in creation. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks, man. It's always great to have you here. I love the topics that we get into, and today we have an interesting kind of discussion in front of us. I hope people will like it. But before we get into it, can you give us a little bit of context for those who maybe missed the first episode, who you are and kind of how you got into this whole personal development side of things?
Yeah, so I think my first video in English was probably like a year and a half ago, or maybe even 2 years. So my name is Dušan. I'm originally from Croatia, but I spent 5.5 years living in Ireland. That's how I met Borna. Now, last year I moved back to Croatia. I got involved in personal development like nearly 2.5 years ago. Myself and my wife were just unhappy with our lives, with our jobs, with how things were going in our lives, and we just decided to change something. My wife came across a Facebook ad for a live seminar in Tralee. She attended the seminar. Like a few days later, we signed up for this like mentorship program. We invested like basically our whole life savings, and like the changes we've seen in our lives, like from that moment, were just incredible. Like our income skyrocketed, like the whole thing like just changed. And then last year we decided. I think in my first podcast with you, I think I was saying is our goal was actually to move to Portugal, and that was really our goal for a while. But then we came here like during COVID, just like for about a month, because we work from home now. And then we kind of realized that, why not move back to Croatia? I don't think I don't think there's something that Portugal has to offer that Croatia doesn't. So look, it's just good being home. It's good to be here. We enjoy life. We just do what we do, and we're happy with it. So that's my kind of story. Awesome. Until now, but yeah, there's much more to it unfolding, I hope.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll get into parts of it, definitely, because I love the story because it's so rare to actually hear that people, take their own lives into their own hands and they're like, all right, I'm going to change it now. I'm going to do something about it. I have a feeling that most people, kind of just go through it, and it's like we have a saying in Croatia, it's like the river has taken me, something like that.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that happens to most people. And somewhere around college I started reading these personal development books, and I found them very interesting, and I always loved stories like that where somebody changes the course of their life. Can you tell me what were some of the things that you started doing when you took on personal development? Was it just books, or was it something else as well?
Well, initially, my first, how I got involved with personal development in the first place was about, I think 7 years ago. Like my wife, she was my girlfriend back then, Yelena. I think she read all the books probably from Robin Sharma. You've heard about the guy, yeah. So I started reading a few books, and it was all, good. Like you read a book, you kind of start implementing things for a couple of days, but then I kind of felt I was drifting away. I was going back to my old habits. So I never really implemented a lot, but that was like my first ever introduction to personal development, and really nothing major changed. In fact, I was probably going backwards in certain aspects of my life, especially like in Ireland. I kind of found like it was all good. Like when we just arrived, we got new jobs, we bought cars, started family. Like there was some changes, but then once our daughter was born, I was kind of stuck into this job and not liking it. I kind of felt like I was not going forward, I was actually going backwards. And that's when I decided to change something. But again, nothing majorly happened until we decided to invest in ourselves and really like hire a mentor and have a proper full-time mentorship for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing. What were some of the habits that you changed? I know that's a big one for people. There you were kind of oscillating between going where you want and going back to the things that you were doing before. What were some of the habits that you changed along the way?
Well, there was I think getting up at 5 a.m. That became a habit. So I was actually getting up at 5 a.m. every morning to go to work. And then I would come back from work and I'd be tired and I'd go to bed straight away, or I would take a nap. And I thought it's always I'm so tired, I'm so tired, I'm so tired. But then when I quit my job, I said, sure, look, I already have this habit of getting up. I said, why don't I just keep doing what I'm doing, and Joe, just take those like few hours every morning and study and work on myself, which I did. And guess what? I found that I'm not even tired, Joe. Like there could be, because like you work on something that you're really excited about, and when you have like when you're motivated, when those things are happening, like you're not even you don't even get tired. But like some of the like probably most important habits is that I started studying, like, and I mean, like, there's many forms of study. We can talk about it later, but like when we joined this mentorship program, there's like a program that you study every single day. So you don't take weekends off, you don't take bank holidays. I mean, obviously, you can take a day off, like Christmas or whatever, like, but it's a really like it becomes a habit. So there's like not even a single day goes by even today like that I go without any study. Like some days it's just some audiobook, some days I do like a full lesson, some day I could read for an hour, like whatever it is, but like it just becomes like a really, really important study, because as Lady Bob Proctor says, the only way to change something is through study. The only way.
Yeah, I agree. I think Alex Ramosi was asked on a recent podcast, like, what's the difference of someone making it or not making it, right? And he's like, yeah, the guy that made it knew how, right? He had the information and he learned it somewhere, right? So that's exactly the same thing, right? You absorb
Absolutely.
information and then you change your action into something else, right? Yeah, I agree on that one. What are you studying? Like books or programs or audiobooks? What's your focus right now?
It's mostly programs. So we started with this program called Thinking into Results. So that's like a 6-month. It's like the program you study in the initial 6-month academy that we did with our mentor Declan. Then we kind of upgraded to this new Legal Field Pro. So they're really like a structured program with a lot of repetition. So you could be on one lesson for like a week or 2 weeks. I even know a lady who spent 3 weeks on this lesson on self-image. So there's a lot of repetition involved in that. So that's what I mostly do. Like I like to read a lot. Like I completed like this speed reading course. So
I remember that one.
Yeah. So it's really like it's a joy. You know, you take a book and then you kind of read the book in like 2 days, and then you take the next book. So I like to read a lot, but again, not like I don't even have to read it, because I know that if I wake up at 5 a.m. by 7 a.m. I've done my there's like a video or audio lesson, and there's like some worksheets to be like done. So there's a bit of writing involved. I keep my like gratitude journal, and I think that's a lot for most people. Like I think like some people like try to get on, like they're doing like webinars and this and that, they're reading books, and they just kind of burn out. So you also have to be like really, you have to keep things in balance. So I think an hour a day of study is it's perfect.
Yeah, I agree, and definitely necessary. Like if you want to change your life, you definitely need to work on it. Like I don't think that change comes like from nowhere, that you know it magically appears from the universe.
No.
Like many people say, like it'll just come. Like I think you have to push it in a certain direction with your actions and thoughts and emotions and like the whole spiel.
Absolutely. There's this word, and I wanted to actually thought about this before as I was shaving. I thought about this. Like there's this word called awareness. Okay. And there has to be a change in awareness before any change in your life happens. You know, like let's take income, for example. So there's like people who earn, let's say like in Ireland, I think like a lot of people earn, let's say 50,000 a year. That would be like some sort of a average wage. And that's what most people would consider okay, or it's just an average wage, it's good. So what's the difference between those people and people who earn 50 grand a week? These people who earn 50 grand a week are not smarter, they're not better. They just have a different awareness.
Yeah.
And I like how Bob used to say that nothing is ever created or destroyed. He said like the internet has always been here. The way to fly airplanes has always been here. We were just not aware of how to do it like 300 years ago. Yeah. And then the Wright brothers became aware of how to do it, and all of a sudden we're flying now. It's a normal thing. Now these days we have we have internet, we have cryptocurrencies, we have like all these things that didn't exist like 100 years ago. It's just a change in awareness happened. Like I remember, like I was having the same wage for like 4.5 years. That's how long I worked in this my retail job. It was always the same wage. Like yearly wage was always the same. And all of a sudden, I went 6 times that. Like that's crazy, you know. And like it didn't happen. Like some people, Joe, might say, "Oh, you're lucky," or "You're this, you're that," or you know someone. But it's never that. It's a change in awareness. But now, how do you expand this awareness? It's through everyday study and study and study and repetition. And that's really how our clients, like the people we work with, that's how they get their results.
Mm.
But like, see, most people don't want to do it. See, people take a book, they read one book and they think they know it, and then they just say, so I'm going to take a break now. But no, this becomes a lifestyle.
Yeah, definitely. You can see it when you meet someone and on the type of interactions you have with people. Like I have a few friends that really do work on themselves, and each time we meet, those are the topics that we discuss, like those are the things that we get into because we find it interesting, because we invest time and energy into figuring stuff out, and then I love it when somebody shares like hey man, I had a great insight about this, and I was thinking about this, or I met someone who told me this, and those feel like small revelations where you're like, oh, I expanded my universe a little bit, and
Absolutely,
those are my favorite moments actually. And I usually struggled with books. I wasn't like the best reader, but then I discovered audiobooks, and that completely changed my life. I'm more of a listener than a reader. And recently I started doing like listening them in higher speeds. So on YouTube you can up to speed, and some of them I can even listen on twice as fast. So if you could, like an average audiobook would take you like 10 hours, right? So if you could dial it down to 5, and if you listen to 1 hour per day, you can get through a book per week, right? And then when you do the math, that's like 50 books a year. And then the question becomes like, how many people do you know that read 50 books per year, right? Not a lot. Like we used to do it in school, right? Because it was mandatory, like you had to, right? And then, okay, well, maybe it wasn't 50, right? But let's say in college you did, all right? And then kind of nobody forced you to do it, and people just stop. But
why would you do it?
As you said, if you don't do it, if you don't like will it into existence, it doesn't come.
Yeah, do you know, there was a thing I mentioned that speed reading course. It was facilitated by this guy called Jim Quick. So he's a very kind of famous like a guy. He does courses with like memory and brain power and speed reading. And then like I was doing that course, and he said that readers are leaders. And he said that an average millionaire reads about like 50 something books a year. And I was like, okay, sure, look, I'd love to be a millionaire. Like it's not like my goal, like absolute priority right now, but I said I'd love to be a millionaire. I said if it takes like reading a book a week, like why not? It's just
why not?
It's like sacrificing something of a smaller value, like my time. I mean, look, I'd probably like do something unproductive with that time anyway. So I turn on my PlayStation and play FIFA. So I said, why don't I just take an hour a day and just read? And then especially, like I said, once I got my speed up, like I started reading 850 words per minute. It was like brilliant. I remember like one evening, I was doing for a Zumba class. I was in Ireland, and I took a book, like one of the personal development books that I read like 2 or 3 times. So I kind of knew what it's all about. And I said, sure, look, I'm just going to read it for just kind of, if I have time to do it. And it was like 80 something pages. It was less than an hour. Like I read the book in an hour, so it was brilliant. I said, okay, this is my new favorite hobby. I'm going to do this every day. So look, it's highly recommended for anyone who wants to read and would love to kind of read a book. It's like I think $100 is the 20 something day course. So
yeah,
highly recommended.
I actually did speed reading once when I was in elementary school. My parents thought it was a good idea, and me and my friend went, and it worked for the first few months, but then you stop doing it, and then
if you don't practice,
I think your mind has to kind of relax the perception filter, and when you do, you can absorb a lot more. But it's just like a muscle; like you have to train it up to be in good condition. Otherwise, you don't catch it all. Like I tried it. Actually, I tried it after our last podcast, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Like I would have to go through the course again. And, just like practice it, like get a bunch of books and do it. Does it work the same for you, like when you're reading PDFs on a computer, where you just
I don't read PDFs. Like I even like audiobooks are not my absolute favorite because I tend to kind of my thoughts tend to drift, like I could be walking, and so I only read of books, and even that, like I remember doing that course, like like sometimes when you read and your mind drifts, you start thinking about something else. And then Jim Quick was just talking about how it's same as if you were driving your car like 30 kilometers an hour. Like you can text people and do this because you're driving so slowly. But when you drive like 150 kilometers, like you have to be 100% focused. And it's same with reading. So see, when you read fast, you're like 100% focused on that. So again, sometimes audiobooks, but never PDFs. I like my eyes get a bit just sore after a while. But again, look, whatever works for people. I know people use Kindle. Some people listen, like you said, audiobooks. Whatever works for you. Like there's no right or wrong way. But just me personally, I like to read. I like to have my hard copy of my books, especially if they're like all these. They have these like some of the personal development books have these like deluxe editions, like black leather. Like these are I love those. So
me too. I actually love them, but I think I have to get back into reading more, you know. I kind of secretly have a fantasy of building out like a huge library behind me, you know, of all the books that I read, and kind of like building them out. But a shame is that I didn't collect all the audio books that I had. Maybe I should go back and kind of like download all of them or like order them from Amazon. But yeah, then I would need like a lot more space behind me, you know. But
you need to find a way to kind of present all your audiobooks like behind you as a background.
Yeah, maybe like a screensaver, you know, that just falls in the background. But yeah,
bring down the covers.
Yeah, that would work, but maybe for another time. Tell me, when you were on the speed reading course, I remember that we used to do those mind maps and mental maps. Did you do those as well on Jim Quick's course?
I actually can't remember. Like I know there was few things like juggling balls and stuff like that, just kind of get your peripheral vision. But to be honest, like I'd love to do it again. I will probably like I have access to it somewhere. But like again, it's just like one thing that I've done just to increase my my reading speed. It's not something that I was really obsessed with. You know, like I'm studying like other things, most like Bob Proctor stuff and Earl Nightingale, but this was just 21 day I think course. So again, I'll probably do it again. But if you ask me about all the details, everything that I've done, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. Do you use mind maps though to kind of map out stuff that you're covering? No,
not really. No.
Yeah.
Sometimes what I do is I like those books that, you know, there are certain books that at the end of each chapter they have like a summary, you know, a short summary, and that's something that Jim Quick recommends. He's like, read what that chapter is all about if that book has it. So it's like some of those personal development books would have like, so there's a chapter on money, and then the last 2 pages like a short summary of what that chapter is all about. So he said, read that short summary. It'll give you an idea of what it's all about, and then you kind of read much faster because you kind of know what to expect. But again, I don't use any mind maps. I know it's kind of highly recommended that you write down things that you've kind of read about, and it just kind of improves the retention. But again, I don't. I'd rather read that book like 5 or 10 times if I really like it than just write it down.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. You inspire me to take up reading again, Dušan.
Yeah, that's good. We'll start a reading club.
Let's do it, and we'll do a video review for the podcast as well.
We should, yeah.
All right, cool. You mentioned on the last one that one of your favorite books is Wallace, The Science of Getting Rich. And I read that book as well. I think it's amazing for someone who personally hasn't gone into personal development. That might be interesting because a lot of people have like a negative opinion about personal development, that it's like ooey-wooey stuff that doesn't work, right? That it's just salesy. And they tend to focus more on the money side first, right? So that book is actually, you know, kind of like a great in-between section of both.
Yeah.
And can be a great starter. And as you said, it's not too long, so you know, like you can go through it fairly quickly. What are your thoughts, like on not just that book, but generally starting from the money side into the personal development?
There's actually there's something funny about the whole money. Like, first of all, I like to talk about money. I think it's a very important subject. Look, we all need it. Like, there's nothing in our life that can go without money. You know, like the laptop you're using, the microphone that will hang behind you, it all requires money. So it is like, but I remember like a lot of people that, you know, I was involved in some groups that I was involved with Forex trading for a while and a few other things. And like all these people are like, okay, I need money. And then it's like, okay, tell me what book do you recommend? And everyone's talking about Robert Kiyosaki and Rich Dad Poor Dad, which again, look, it's a great book, don't get me wrong. But like what people like, they they get into all these, like, we call them mechanics. It's like, oh my God, read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and like what that book tells you is to invest in assets, not liabilities.
Yeah.
And yet these people read the book and then they go and they buy a brand new iPhone. No, there's nothing against buying a new phone, but again, is that an asset? Absolutely not.
Nope.
So again, people read the book and yet they don't do it. It's like, why I love the personal development side of things, it just kind of delves deep into why are you earning what you're earning, why you're not earning more. There's like certain things like your relationship with money. There's certain things like things you've been told about money when you were young. Like my grandma used to say, "Oh, it doesn't grow on trees," and I think it's a very common one.
Yeah.
So that's why I love the personal development approach on money.
Mm-hmm.
With regards, like Joe, so many people know what they need to do. You know, it's like, oh my God, Robert Kiyosaki said, buy Bitcoin, or he said, invest in assets. And yes, so in theory they know it, but they don't do it.
Yeah.
And then like the personal development really focuses on the other side, focus on how to do things that you know how to do. And look, I just love that book, and look, many other books on money, because it really gets you, like, again, it's all about awareness.
Yeah.
I'm all about expanding that awareness, because I know that none of these people who who are so focused on that mechanics, like we always say that whatever you do, 5% is mechanics, and that's like you need to do this and that and that, but 95% is mindset, and I really believe that. And look, again, that's why I read all those books. Like the book that I read in less than an hour, that was actually Science of Getting Rich. It's like 90 something pages, I believe. So look, that's my kind of take on it. I'm just gonna look. I definitely agree that you need skills, and you can't just study mindset without knowing the other side. But look, we had, like, I know people. We had a client in one of our mastermind groups, a lady who was involved in forex trading. She had a forex mentor for 8 years, so she knows all the skills. In those 8 years, she was down 10,000 euros. So now this lady has the skills, but she lacks mindset.
Yeah.
Where some people are so stuck on the mindset side of things, like, oh my God, I'm going to manifest this, I'm going to close my eyes and meditate, but they lack the skills. So again, look, there has to be a healthy balance between the two, but like you cannot neglect any of it. But like, again, I'd highly recommend Think and Grow Rich. Absolutely beautiful book. I think it's easy to read. Science of Getting Rich, it's easy to read. Now there's some like more advanced stuff like Thomas Trover. Now that's like a really hard, and or what's his name, Neville Goddard. Like those things are really heavy. But like if you're just starting out with personal development, I think Think and Grow Rich or The Science of Getting Rich are absolutely great books to start with.
Yeah, I agree. And you said a brilliant thing there, knowing what to do and then the mindset behind it. Like I'll give you a practical example from my field, which is sales. When you boil it down, it's like talking to people, right? So you know what you have to do, right? And even company, like each company where you work in the sales, they give you like the talk track of what you have to say, and even how to say it, you know, like emphasize this, say this more, say this less. And even then people get extremely different results. You know, there's always like a few people that have extremely good results, and then a bunch of people that actually don't have that amazing results, you know. And it's always interesting, like the 80-20 rule here comes into place a lot. But when you talk to these people who are the best, like they usually have a different mindset, you know. And I noticed that usually those that are on the top, first of all, put in a lot more work, effort, and strategy behind it, where they like literally are living it, you know. So at any point of the day or night, you ask them anything about it, they live it, you know. It's not like a strategy that they're using; it's like a part of them, right? And the second thing is they just like believe in what they're doing because they've been doing it, you know, so for so long, and it just works, you know. It once it becomes a part of you, it just becomes amazing, you know. And that's usually how those salespeople who kind of invest the most get the most out of it, you know. And I think that's just right, you know. Once you have the mindset behind what you're doing and put in enough repetition and action behind it, you get the amazing results.
That's it. I think I love how we mentioned sales, because like part of what we do, we also include sales, and I love that part. You know, it really kind of, you're competing against yourself, really. And I think sales is where you really see the importance of mindset, because as you said, like you're all selling the same product, you all have probably the same sales manager, you're using the same script or the same training. So now what's the difference between those high achievers and people who are struggling? It has to be mindset. Like I've seen people, like again, when I was involved with Forex, Like that includes like you investing your own money to earn more money. So what happened is like we used to get we all had access to same platforms, same charts, indicators, same educators who were millionaires, and we could copy their trades. And there was people who were just killing it, and people who struggle. And like what is the difference? It has to be mindset. So again, people who tell me, well, mindset is not that important. Loads of BS now.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I sometimes, like, before the call, I check my like state that I'm in, and usually when you're not on a like a at least 7 out of 10, you underperform.
Yeah.
You're like you go into the call because you have to. You're like, like this probably won't be it, and the calls are usually like nothing special. But then when you go to 7 and above, then you kind of get like great conversations where you get a lot of information from people and people interact with you, and it just works out better.
Absolutely. One of my mentors said, you can't give what you don't have. So if you're not kind of excited about it, how would you get your prospect excited? Or how, if you're not feeling good, like how do you expect them to feel good? So it's really like you're kind of, I know you're kind of talking to another person, but you're really kind of competing against yourself. So yeah, it's all, I love sales. It's good.
Definitely. I also love the point where let's say you had a bad conversation with someone. He's like, no, I'm not interested. I don't want it right now. Like, stop bothering me. Don't call me, stuff like that, and then eventually you want to call him back after a while, and then you look at him and then you're like, all right, I have to call this person again, right? And then the voice in your head goes like, oh no, skip this one. Don't call him. Maybe later, like he'll get it. And just, it tries to stop you, and I look at sales as literally like a training ground for training your mind to overcome these negative voices that are in your head that are kind of trying to block you, and go beyond them and be like, no, I'm going to push through. I'm going to do it now. And that's usually what I do. So I think that I have a lot more fun doing sales than other people. I think that people just look at it as like doing calls, and what happens. I think that I play this like little psychological game with myself, to see who would win in the end. And so far it's working out well. I actually started in sales because I wanted to do that, I was working in a hotel at the reception, and I looked at the sales department and I was like, wow, these guys are doing meetings with important people, like I would love to do that, right? But then you notice that these guys have the toughest job actually in the company, because they're the lifeline. They bring new business in, right?
Yep.
And they're under a lot of stress. But when you sit down with them on a one-on-one, like the conversations are amazing. They're on point. They know so much. They're like super engaging, and like they're like coming from the front line of the battlefield,
Yeah.
And I always found those conversations interesting. And then it's like, all right, I want to go into sales, and I use it all the time to kind of better myself and improve my mindset and my talking skills and interpersonal skills, body language as well. Now, during the COVID era, it was a bit harder to work on that, but you can still see it through Zoom and everything, So
Absolutely.
There's a lot of factors that you can improve through a sales job, and then it's not just a job anymore.
Yeah, I like how I think what really got me excited about sales. Like first, when we started like working with so we invested to work with a mentor, and then like we got some amazing results. So like within 5 months, I quit my job, started my own basketball coaching business. I started like getting involved in financial markets. And then I quit my job. Like it was all good. And then like I think our mentor was so impressed with our results that he kind of offered us like a sales job. Like as you said, like you get on a call with people, you tell them about what he does. If they sign up, you kind of earn your commission. It was all good. So again, I was never really excited about it. I was never in sales, and it wasn't my thing. But then Bob said something. Bob Proctor. He said something that I really kind of enjoyed. He said, it's the highest and the lowest paid job in the world. He said, it's lowest paid if you're not good at it, but it's also the highest paid job if you're really good at it. So then I attended some like sales seminars. Then you see all these, like you see so many people earning like 50, 60, over 100,000 a month. Like it's just crazy, and you think like, oh my God, like this person's just good at sales. Like he has a really good mindset. So like I'm in that industry, like why not? So again, look, I honestly wish you best of luck with sales. I hope it just keeps improving for you, but it is probably the best industry to get in, to kind of work on your mindset and really make some mindset shifts.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely love the commission at the end, because it comes as a you know, like if you put in the effort, like you should be rewarded, you know. And I noticed in previous companies that I worked the same job as other people, but I was putting more energy into it, you know. I was like engaging with people and talking, and some people would just like be
Yeah.
be there to kind of just get through the day, you know. And then I was
Yeah.
like, we shouldn't have the same paycheck, right? And in those standard jobs, like you can't actually affect it, right? Like if you don't get a
Yeah.
promotion, you're basically paid the
Yeah.
same thing. And sales is
Yep.
the exception there, and recruiting as well, because they work commission based. You basically, based on the amount of effort, time, energy you invest in, you get paid back proportionally. And yeah, I just went down that route because I think like, hey, if I am willing to put in more, like I should get paid more, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. No, it's a great decision. Like I actually didn't realize that you actually do sales in your new job, but look, fair play to you. And again, wish you best of luck. It's good. It's good to get those commissions at the end of the month and say,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
had a
But
great month there.
yeah, but it's not for everyone, you know. Like I don't think people want that much stress, and even like, you know, like organizing yourself, planning out the month and everything like that. That takes a lot of effort and energy, and I think that a lot of people don't really want like a,
No.
I can't say fast, but like high stress environment, you know, like
Yeah.
fast-paced environment where they're asked on every one of their decisions and actions if they can do it better and why hasn't it been better, right? So yeah, I don't think it's for everyone, but definitely a great learning experience, you know.
Absolutely. No, it is. It is. Like as you said, like it's not for everyone. I know that like to become like a consultant with Bob Proctor, like in his company, it's like a $30,000 plus you have to pay for your own accommodation and this and that. So sure, it's quite an investment. And there's so many people who come from like a very corporate backgrounds, like business backgrounds, and they just don't make it. So they get a world-class training by Bob Proctor, they meet him in person, they get certified, like they're a PGI consultant. And now it's up to them like to make a success out of it. And like what you need to sell. See,
Yeah.
everyone, like I mean, everyone can become a consultant. Yeah, $30,000, you're a consultant now. But now the hard part comes, and that's getting clients.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but another topic that I want to get into is that even though you take on a, let's say, a fancy sales job and you get those high level commissions, another problem that I noticed with a lot of people in different companies is that they don't manage the money well. They get the money and then they're like, woo, let's go, you know, and then they spend everything, you know, or spend it on like the wrong things and wrong measures or negative stuff, you know, and kind of start to sabotage themselves. um how do you look at that? Like I think it boils down to personal development, because even like if you got money on a lottery, we discussed that last time, like you'll probably, if you don't change your mindset really fast, you'll probably lose all the money.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we did discuss that I don't know 90-something% of lotto winners end up being broke within a year or two. And look, it's same with this, like people who get in sales jobs all of a sudden, maybe like especially if they're in high ticket sales, if the commissions are like four figures and all that, all of a sudden like you start getting, like I noticed that with ourselves, like our income went again, Joe. We made quite a leap there, and it's you can get comfortable. All of a sudden you're like, yeah, sure, like I can spend 100 here and 500 there and this and that, and again all of a sudden like that's Joe, it's gone. So what we did recently, like, and I just noticed that like people are not educated when it comes to money. And recently we kind of hard, well, not hard. Like my mom's childhood friend is a guy from Zagreb, from your city, and he's the guy is like a multimillionaire. He's in a real estate business. So we had a chat with him. And like we told him some of our plans, like our plan was like to build this house, to like invest a lot of money in it. He's like, no, like why? And he's like, but we want the house. Like it's like a number one thing you want to do. And he's like, no. He's like, you invest in something that brings in more money. And then like he kind of went through, like he explained the whole thing, and it just made sense. He's like, look, guys, you're earning good money now, and he's like, I hope you keep earning that amount. But he's like, you have to start creating a passive source of income now while you're young. He said once you have like enough passive income coming in, he's like, then Joe, get a loan, whatever you want, build yourself a house. I don't care. But he said as long as that loan is being paid off by your passive sources. So like there's like certain things that people don't think about. Like we like you start earning more, you go and buy a car. Like that's like the first, I'm gonna buy a car, I'm gonna buy a new phone. And it's just in our nature, like we want more. And once we get comfortable, we tend to like, you know, express that in that way where you kind of get nicer clothes and this and that. Look, there's nothing wrong with it. But I would highly suggest to anyone who is earning more money, like or above average salary, whatever you want to call it, or who can save a lot of money on side, I would say get a financial advisor and talk to someone who can advise you on where to invest it and how to kind of multiply it.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not a financial advisor, neither are you, but and we can't give professional advice. But I think that one thing that we basically agree upon is like if you don't do something smart about your money, you're probably gonna lose it. And nobody teaches us that in schools, right? So we don't know how to like parents go like, oh, here's a piggy bank, right? So put in your money, and like that's basically where it stops. Yeah. Thank God for the internet, YouTube, podcasts, all the coaches out there that actually invest their time and effort to kind of show it to people and explain it. I think that's amazing. I personally learned so much for free, you know, like even like, let's say you don't have any money at all. You just turn on the internet and you can find someone who did something really, really good with their money and you can just start copying him. That's an amazing thing. I try to do that all the time, and I know what you mean with the spending when the income goes up. Yeah, you definitely have to stop yourself, you know. And
you have to, yeah.
But
there's a very kind of fine line between kind of being too kind of rigid or like your savings. Like that's not good neither. Like don't get wrong.
Yeah.
But like you have to be smart with your money. Like and I'll tell you a funny story. Like we worked with another mentor like for a few months. Like it was like a sales mentor, right? So I was kind of it was like a 6-month mentorship. Also kind of wanted to work on that skill, and he's also like his sales and mindset. So I asked him like, look, man, I said, we moved back to Croatia, like we're earning like much more than what average person here earns. I said, how do I prevent myself from getting too comfortable? Like that was my question. I said, because I started noticing that, there's people here who work for like 500 or 600 euros a month, and then like there was days where I could earn a few thousand. So there was things like that. He said you just need to spend money. So I was like, what do you mean like spend money? He's like, you need to kind of release. He said release some energy. So what he did like he asked me like, could I like donate a lot of money? Like could I like donate a couple of thousand? So I remember like my car. I had a car in Tralee, and it was there because I didn't sell it before we moved. And it was on done deal, but I never sold it. The car was around 5,000 euros. So my brother still lives in Tralee. So I rang that mentor. I said, look, the car is there. I said, if I give that car to my brother, I said, would that count as a donation? He's like, absolutely. So I rang my brother the next day. I gave him the car.
Nice.
Now it was really kind of uncomfortable because all of a sudden like you're just kind of giving away 5,000 euros. But then what really happened this month, and this is true story, like that month was my best month ever financially. So that was September, October last year. And up to this day, I never had a better month financially. So there's that mindset there as well.
Yeah.
But like that was, as he said, like you need to kind of release some energy before you get more. But again, look, that doesn't mean you need to go every month and buy stupid things you don't need. That was like just really one case of me not getting comfortable with life here. But yeah, it's a very fine line. Okay, be smart with it. Find someone who understands it. Find someone like I found a guy who's going to kick my ass because I want to build my house before I'm 30. And the thing is like we wanted to build it with cash. So we're like, look, we're not going to get a loan and this, that. He's like, no, you're going to invest in something that brings in more money. It was a bit of a shock, like especially Yana was shocked. She thought like, yeah, absolutely, like getting a house is the most logical thing you can do, but apparently it's not. Look, again, if we didn't have anywhere to live, it would be like absolutely logical step. But like right now we live in my parents' house. It's a huge house. I have my own, this is my office. Yana has her office. We have bedroom. We have another two living rooms. So I mean, we have a roof over our head. So it's not like we don't have to build a house tomorrow. So again, it gives us more time to build like something else or invest in something else that would bring in money.
Yeah, I agree. It's amazing when you can do that, and I'm glad that you listened to that guy because I agree. I think that people should invest a few years definitely creating something besides their main source of income to kind of make it easier for them, because there's always the chance of it snowballing where it kind of after like, let's say 5 years or 10 years, it gets like more than your
Yeah, more than what
source of
your
income.
active job is. Yeah,
Exactly. Which is actually kind of a new trend that's going on right now in the world, where people try to create passive sources of income online through different sources, various things. Like the older the internet gets, the more options that basically there are, and it's everything, you know, to do with people and what they do with their businesses and their money and their concepts and ideas that they're sharing online. So I think it's a great direction that we're going in. I personally want to move into that as well with the podcast and the other channels. I'm working on it basically every day, because not only do I love it, but I already see some results on for example, on the creation channel. It started finally earning some money, right? And I watch a lot of people online that kind of build out businesses around things that they love through the internet. I like the YouTube part, creating videos and all that. It's a passion for me, right? And I think that's the optimum way, like how people can do it. You know, like some people get into, I don't know, trading, but they hate staring at the screen, right? And then they're in front of the screen every day and they're miserable about it. I don't have a problem with being in front of the screen all day and creating videos, you know? So I think one part of this whole thing should be not just sacrificing the things that you know, like, but also doing the things that you love while you're doing it, right? So, yeah, like I think that people should actually invest more time before they go into a passive income source or a business or something, into finding actually out what it is that they love or enjoy doing. And it's a Steve Jobs quote, right? Because if you love what you're doing, then it's not a job, right? Then you can outwork your competition, because you're having fun, you're playing a game, right? And they're working. And yeah, that's a great advantage to have.
It is, yeah. And look, I absolutely agree with you. Like, I mean, you said you are working every day on YouTube, but you know, like there will be a day, hopefully, where that's going to be like I mean, not passive, but I know like all these famous YouTubers, like they get paid out, like, you know, they're getting views on their YouTube videos, like when they sleep, you know, they get paid. So look, I mean, even like with passive source of income, you have to invest your time, you have to invest your energy, possibly even money at one stage to get it up and running, for it to start Joe, so you can start earning the dividends, as they say.
Yeah, 100%. Do you maybe know the YouTuber Graham Stephen?
Graham's, yeah, I follow the guy, financial guy, the guy that's so against Starbucks coffee. Is that the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was part of his Discord channel for a while. Yeah, he's good. He has some good financial advice. I like what he talks about.
Definitely. But I listened to his podcast with Jack and the other guests that come on. I wanted to basically get back to your point on learning to enjoy the money and the rewards that you get. That's something where he is not a role model for me.
Yeah.
For example, he bought a huge house with a swimming pool in the back. And in the last 6 months, he hasn't turned on the swimming pool once. Why? Because the heating or cleaning or something is a bit more expensive, right? And I think that's the part where you mentioned, like, you have to release some energy, right? You can't just always keep everything stuck and tight and not enjoy or relax or give yourself some kind of a pat on the back, like, yeah, you deserve it, you know, and just like keep going after it. I think that's the wrong way, because if you do that too long or too intensive, you might even hurt yourself in the long run, right? And I think that his friend or business partner, Jack, kind of realizes that. And he always, through the podcast, tried to push him a little bit into that direction. Like, come on, man, like, let's fill up the pool and let's have fun right now. And he's like, oh, man, then we have to clean it. Then we have, you know, like, so, yeah, I think it's out, actually.
There's I think like a lot of people like that we consider like wealthy or anything like that, they have that kind of mindset. Like it is actually, and like I remember like my parents, like they're selling the watermelons, so they do the agriculture, they're growing the watermelons, selling them, so they sell them like on like a market. And then whenever they see someone with like a really nice fancy car, like a Porsche or something like that, like you can expect that person to buy like few watermelons or like the largest one. And they usually buy the smallest watermelon. And like it's a very like I mean, look, it's a funny example, but like it just tells you like the people like that, they don't waste any money, you know, they don't. And again, look, I think it is a bit stupid to a degree. Like it's a very fine line. You have to enjoy life, but yeah, a lot of people who have money actually have that mindset. Like the reason why they do have the money is because they were so rigid with the money, And look, as like I know that Brian guy, like he always talks about, I think Starbucks or some of those like fancy. He's like, it's $3 or $5 a day, and like 30 days, that's 150. And he's like, I make my own coffee, it costs me like 50 cents. And look, it's just like those small things are like so many subscriptions that you don't use on a monthly basis. Like those things add up, like,
Yeah.
you know. So I think everyone has to, like, we need to be smarter with the money. That's, and again, I think that everyone should get more educated when it comes to money, like taxes, money, this and that. Like, I think, like, especially now, like when we move back, like we're starting a company now. We're going to register as a company here, like, because we're planning to do like a few different things. And there's so many things that we didn't know about. Like there's this tax and that tax, and there's tax exemption, VAT, and this, and it's like you need to get educated on those things. Like you need to know everything you can about money, because again, if you don't, someone else who knows will will take it from you probably. Like, you know, there's so many parts where you can save. You can save 10% here or 5% there. You don't have to pay tax for that. And people who are not aware of that, actually, Joe, a lot of money goes to waste, as you say.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I
yeah.
agree. I agree. And back to the first point at the start of the podcast, like the guy who saved money did because he knows more than you, right? So that's why he did it. And he did the actions that brought him there, right? So it's knowledge and the correct actions. Yeah, it just adds up after a while. Like doing more of the right actions that bring you more will just bring you more in the future, right? And that's where the saying "the rich get richer" comes from, right? Like, yeah, sure, of course. Like if you know more, like you can do it multiple times, right? And then you make money more often and just accumulate wealth. And it's in every area like that. Like go into fitness, right? The guy like Usain Bolt probably knows more about the human body than like a small city of people combined, right? Because he spent his whole life studying just that, right? And being the best at like this small part of our lives, you know. And he's got more experience as well. He's been to more competitions, battled with more opponents on the battlefield, right? If we can give a metaphor there. So he knows more than the average professional runner, and that's why he is the best. So yeah.
Absolutely. It's all those like small things. I mean, look, he's obviously one of the best ever. But look, even like when it comes to money, as you said, it's a mindset. I know there's like so many examples. If you ever read like books on money, there's examples of people who had the money, lost all the money, and then got the money again. It's just a state of mind. Like, you know, it's not. And then you have an average person, and you hand them over like a 50 million on lottery, and what they do is, Joe, they don't have the money. They got the money overnight, and then they spend it all. Like it's like it has to be mind. There's no other explanation for that. Like,
yeah,
so it's just a state of mind.
I agree.
That's all it is.
Then let's talk about states of mind that can actually help people get to more money. Do you have any suggestions?
Absolutely. You need to work on yourself, and when I say that, like you need to work on that. Like we have this thing that we talk about. Like Bob Proctor used to talk about paradigm. And that's what we teach in our programs in the academy. So this paradigm stuff, it's literally how a person is programmed, right? So if I listen to my grandma every day saying how money doesn't grow on trees, that eventually got like entered my subconscious mind, and that kind of controlled my whole life. And you can like people notice that in how they behave around money, in their spending habits and this and that. There's people who came from very poor families, and they're just so used to not having money. It's just a normal thing. So what you need to do is you need to change that paradigm. You need to change that subconscious programming. And again, the best way to do that is to find a professional, find a mentor who can help you with that. Now, again, that's what we do with people. That's why we see our clients, like we see the like people sharing the wins in the academy like every day. And like they're absolutely amazing wins, like people getting the dream job, starting the business, getting like their business, getting like getting the offers, like, or the orders, like 1 year's orders in a month. These things happen because people change how they operate. As you say, with salespeople, it's paradigm, it's awareness. So again, we can either start with some books, but I would highly recommend, like, just to fast track that, get a mentor. Get someone who deals with those mindsets. And again, look, there has to be a lot of, like, if people expect changes in a week or two, it's not going to happen. You know, like we're all like, I'll be 29 in 10 days. And, you know, like I have certain paradigms for the last 29 years, or like some people are even older. So like you have these you're being programmed for so long, and now you expect to change that in 2 weeks. It's not going to happen. So there has to be patience. There has to be a lot of discipline. But look, absolutely everyone can change.
Yeah, I agree on that one. Yeah, definitely. And then when the results start rolling in, it's easier because your paradigm starts slowly changing. You know, I know the feeling when the first dollar or euro I earned off the internet, I was like, oh man, this works, you know, or from trading, like when you make a good trade and you're like, oh man, this actually works, you know, and then you kind of start convincing yourself a little bit more and a little bit more into what you were actually going for, because as you said, the mindset is not built in one day or over a night or in 2 weeks, right? You really have to hammer it down so it kind of sticks in, and then you get the results in the long term. As the more you do it, the better you actually get in it.
Yeah. And again, look, that's the reason why I said like having someone like having a mentor is really important, especially the one who's gonna, you know, push you, get you uncomfortable. And I'll tell you like a funny story. Maybe I shared this in the last master or in the last podcast, I'm not sure. But when I like I was 3 months into the mentorship program, or like 4 months, and I started like expressing interest into like financial markets, stocks especially. And I started making like a bit of money. You know, I was still working in Lidl, so I would do my whole day shift, like a 10-hour shift, and then like on top of that, I would probably like earn 20, 30 euros a day, which, you know, at the time it was like cool. You know, you do your day, you have your full-time job, but on the side, you get some money. So I rang my mentor one day and I said, look, man, I said, this is what's happening. I said, I'm so happy. Look, I'm earning 20, 30 euros a day. It's like an extra money for me and my family. And he wasn't even impressed. He's like, yeah, well done. He's like, now go for 1,000 a day. And I was actually shocked. I was like, well, who the hell makes 1,000 a day? Like, I mean, I don't have time for that. And he told me like, the only reason why it's not happening is why it's not already happening is because you don't believe it could happen. And look, I said, look, I mean, what do I have to lose? I said, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And I remember like, this was maybe a month after that. Like it happened like in 3 days. So I entered a trade, and 3 days later, I basically earned three monthly wages. And like I came to work after that, and I was like, you know what? I don't actually need this job. I said, if I hit few of these trades here, yeah, I said if I hit like few of these trades, like a year, I said I'm fine. I'm gonna replace my income while staying at home, and now that's gonna free up like 40 to 50 hours a week, which I can use to do something else. And I did that. Like I think I quit my job like a few weeks after that. I was like, sure, why do I need this job? Like I just made 3 monthly wages, like in just clicking my phone. So again, look, it is again, it's awareness. But if it wasn't for my mentor back then, I'd probably be still earning 20, 30 euros a day, which again is not bad, but still no one would challenge me. So again, get someone like that. Get someone who's gonna push you, who's gonna make you a bit uncomfortable, because you only grow when you're uncomfortable. Like if you're just feeling comfortable all the time, there's no growth attached to it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I have actually never spent a lot of time on stocks. I kind of skipped them and went basically directly to crypto. You also mentioned at one point that you got also into cryptocurrencies and I presume traded those. Do you notice any bigger differences there, or how would you compare them?
I don't really trade crypto. See, with crypto, I'm more like into long-term investments, but I personally like stocks more because it's very it's like tangible. You know, there's like news. Okay, this company is the sales results are there, and where like crypto is very volatile. Now, don't get me wrong. Like the money that people make in crypto like cannot be compared to. I mean, like percentage-wise, like you see all these like huge jumps, like 500%. It's like a normal thing in crypto, where like in stocks, you kind of get used to like 10% maybe, like, or even like few percent, and that's okay. Like you get these like we call them bangers, like every here and then, but it's okay. Like as long as as long as you're disciplined, you're patient, and you're okay with like slowly compounding it, which I am absolutely fine with. I think like crypto is more of I think a lot of people kind of go into like with this kind of gambler's mindset, you know, like I'm going to put this money in and I hope it just skyrockets. Let me see what Elon Musk is tweeting about. Let's see if I make some quick money on it. Where like with stocks, again, I like the more like, it's not a passive approach, but it's like more relaxed. It's like, okay, look, like see with stocks, like when you're down 10%, it's like, oh my God, like the world is falling apart. When like with crypto, you could be down like 50% and be like, yeah, sure, look, tomorrow it could go up 50% again. You know, there's a huge difference.
Yeah. I love how people make fun of it, like crypto traders comparing it to like stocks. They're like, oh no, Bitcoin is down 5%, and like CNBC covers it in the news, and crypto traders are like, what? Like that's not even news. Like that happens just like all the time, you know.
It fluctuates like 5 to 10% a day. Like it's crazy. Yeah.
But then again, that brings us back to perception, right? And awareness, right? Some people look at 5 to 10% as a huge thing, right? And other people will look at 500% as like, oh yeah, it could have been 700%, right? So I guess that the main question there is that like the emotions that come from these sudden changes in markets or prices that can affect people a lot. And I feel that through personal development, you can work on that and kind of stabilize yourself so you can become a better trader, which is ultimately the goal. It's not about the money. It's about you being a better person, right? And a better trader and mastering yourself, because the only reason why you'll sell something is because you're panicking, right? And the only reason because you're buying something is like because you're missing out. You feel that you're missing out. So if you master yourself more, you'll basically get better at what you're doing, which is kind of the whole point of this podcast and what we were talking about earlier. What are some of your tips that you would give to people who are kind of like, all right, I started doing something and now the emotions are all over the place. They lost control, or they're like scared of something or worried, or have the FOMO, the fear of missing out, like, do you have any tips on that one?
Yeah, like actually, like there was a lot of talk about that within our like academy. A lot of like academy clients, the people that we work with, have kind of reached out to me about, because I was kind of involved with Forex at one stage, crypto now, and stocks have been going on for like 2 years now. So they kind of asked for some advice. And what I would say to people is, like, first rule is do not invest more than you're willing to lose. And that takes off all the pressure. Now, again, as soon as you invest more than what you're comfortable, like, look, let's face it, no one likes to lose money. But like, Joe, if you're taking like the money that's like, if that's like your last 1,000 and you invest that, there's going to be a lot of emotion behind it. But if 1,000 is not, if it's just like a money that you're going to make, Joe, tomorrow, like, then there's no emotional attachment. And I think that's the first rule when it comes to any investing or trading. I remember like when I started learning about it, like all these guys kind of recommended starting with like €100 like account. He's like, do you know what? Start with 100 and be prepared to lose the 100. So like, why would I even start if I'm prepared to lose? But he's like, you need to learn. So you'd better learn on 100 than start learning on 10,000. But again, then like when it comes to percentages, like I think people underestimate how big is actually like 5% or 10%. It's actually huge. It's just when people invest €100 and they're up 10%, that's like a 10 euros. But like you need to kind of see the bigger picture. Like when you have an account which is like 10 or 20,000, and then you're up 5 or 10% a day, like that's huge money. But again, look, I think Tony Robbins is a great guy. If you want to learn about handling the emotions in financial markets, I think Tony Robbins is your guy. And especially the book, what's it called? Unshakable.
Unshakable.
Unshakable. I think there's like a whole section where he talks about that the emotions when you see your hard-earned cash, like when you invest in something and you see that commodity, whatever it is, like a stock, cryptocurrency, like a gold or whatever, when you see that going down, he's like, the emotions that are triggered are the same emotions as if someone had a gun pointed at you, like in your head. It's like, it's crazy, like how much we panic. And then, as you say, people start to panic. They sell at those like lows, as we call it, like a very low levels, because they start panicking. Like they see their hard-earned cash, hard-earned money going down in value. It's like, oh my God, let me just get it out and I'll never do it again. So look, that's why diamond hands get rewarded, I think. But yeah, don't ever invest more than you're willing to lose. Because if you do, like, it's just, you're gonna put too much pressure on yourself.
Yeah. What do you think about I absolutely agree on that one, 100%. I always kind of do that. Like I take a percentage of my monthly salary and just like put it into something that I believe in or did some research on, or both, sometimes it's either or. But yeah, I want to get your opinion on one more thing. Some people say invest into only one thing and let it compound to the max, like for the next 40 years, right? And a lot of people say diversify, like buy 5 to 10 different things and then watch them. Like, what are you kind of believing in? Like, how do you have a strategy there on like accumulating one thing or diversifying?
Well, I always thought that diversifying just kind of makes more sense. But then like if you take a look at markets now, right? So there's all this like uncertainty with war in Ukraine and this, like the whole market is down. So they said like, if you diversify, you're kind of safer. But like personally from my own like experience now, I don't see that being the truth. Like I know people like everyone talks how Bitcoin is down or cryptocurrency market is, but like the stock market is down big time. So like when one thing goes down, the whole thing goes down. So there's
But
again, I agree. There's certain things that if you diversify, you should be safer.
yeah,
But if it's panic, it's panic.
yeah.
It affects the everything. So again, look, personally, what I do with my stock trading, I always keep a certain amount for trading. And what I usually do is like I like to put like that whole amount, like that's my like trading amount, and then once I earn something, I withdraw
Mhm.
like the remainder. I withdraw the surplus of that. So it's
Yeah.
actually I always like to have 3,000 there for trading, and then what happens is I like to put like if there's like a stock that I see it's going to go up, I put the whole thing. Now obviously you have to put a stop loss because now if there are like bigger amounts and you don't want to lose a lot of it, but
Yeah.
yeah, look, if it's long-term investments, absolutely diversified. Like do try stocks. Like there's ETFs are like great things. They're like a very safe option. Like stocks, I think on average they bring you 7%. Like even Warren Buffett is all about like invest in SP 500 ETF. So look, I have something in crypto. I've invested like in a few different things. So I
Mhm.
think it is a good. But if you really believe in something, if you've done your research, you feel confident. Yeah, why don't put like, well, maybe not all your money, but
Mhm.
majority of your money in one thing,
Yeah, yeah,
but not more than that. Not more than that you can afford to lose.
definitely.
Always remember that.
Apart from trading crypto, a lot of people are kind of now building on a new level of or a new layer of cryptocurrency, which is on the blockchain. Basically, the NFTs took over the world by storm. Everybody's talking about it right now. Not many people own NFTs though yet because they feel that it's still early. But I know that you got involved into some and are looking at it closely. Can you comment on them? How do you like? How would you explain an NFT to someone who's hearing about it for the first time?
Believe it or not, I tried to explain to my dad once, and he gave me like $200 or like 200 something, like it was whatever equivalent to $200. He gave me that in Croatian kuna, and I actually bought him an NFT, and he actually sold it like a few weeks later for like a small profit. It wasn't any great, but he was so happy. Like I actually handed him the money one day. I was like, "This is your profit." But how do I explain it? It's like a digital asset, could be anything. Like usually it's a picture of something, but it could be a song or whatever. Like I actually can't find like a logical way to explain it. I don't know what to think about it, Borna, to be honest. It is a new thing. It could be like the biggest thing ever, or it could be like they could be gone like in next few years. Like I have about 7 or 8 NFTs, I believe, right now, or 10. Again, for now, I just started with smaller amounts. It's going well. Don't get me wrong. Like I started and like so I bought an NFT and then I sold it, so I made some profits. So then what I do, I just keep reinvesting.
Hmm.
So like, and I made a nice profit, but I'm just really being kind of careful, still a bit skeptical about them, to be honest. Like again, I own few. I'm going to keep few for long term, just
Hmm.
because I know a lot of these projects, they promise you like play to earn game, or staking is really popular, where you kind of stake your NFT to earn passive income.
Yeah.
So look, again, I'm holding few. I'm not going to sell them. But again, am I encouraging people to get into NFTs? Not really. It's again, I might be wrong. Like it's
Yeah.
same like with Bitcoin, like 15 years ago, people said no, it's not going to be huge, and look at it now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're early. Look, we're early. Like if you think about most platforms are only like a year, 2 years old, like max. Like I do all my stuff at crypto.com. Like I think just last month they celebrated like their NFT section just celebrated like 1 year.
Hmm. Hmm.
So like Solana is a huge platform recently. Like they're not there for too long. Like so if you get in now, you're early now. It just depends on where the whole thing is gonna go.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's here to stay. Maybe not in the form that we're used to. Like I think it's going to more develop into the direction of smart contracts where people tie assets into some form of NFT, and the other way around, tie NFTs into some form of assets.
Probably,
So
yeah.
I think it can go both ways. And I think we're going to see it a lot more in a lot of different industries. For example, an example that I love to use is let's say you go to college, you get a education or a course or something. You invest the time, energy, got smarts for it, paid money for it, right? And you get a paper. Then you have to kind of scan it to put it in a PDF file so you can show it to the interviewer for a new job, let's say, that you actually passed the course. Why can't that be an NFT that's digitally integrated into LinkedIn? And then as soon as someone clicks into it, it directly takes them to a blockchain connected to your education, school, whatever, where you can actually see if Dušan did the certification that he claims that he has, right? Because the problem with paper is that you can, like fake it. On the blockchain you can't. And I think this is where we're going to see NFTs a lot play out a lot more, where let's say you go to a Bob Proctor seminar, you get a badge that says like you're certified for it, right? And then let's say you can integrate it into a Zoom platform that supports NFTs, where you can next to your name have like badges for the courses that you did that are NFTs that symbolize your education, right? That will be like a really cool practical way of using them. And I think that most people just focus now on the pictures because it's too early. It's still too new, right? There's still not enough usage for it out there for it to go into everything, right? But I agree with you there, what you said. For blockchain gaming, I think we're going to see a lot of NFTs there. And that's something that I'm personally looking forward to. I've been a gamer all my life, and I'm looking forward to the first big game that implements NFTs, right? Imagine, you mentioned FIFA earlier. Imagine getting your football team to earning $1 million a month and getting a NFT that symbolizes that you're successful in trading or analyzing stuff. Like those NFTs could actually hold real world value because they would prove that you have some sort of financial skill, management skill, like coordination, like stuff that can be tied to digitally and physically, right? And symbolize it through that. So I think it's going to be exciting.
I actually play a game. Like I don't like. I tried it. It has potential. So it's like a trading card game. Like so the cards, like some of the cards that you win, they're actually classified as NFTs. So you can actually take that card that you use in a game and you can sell it on a marketplace, which is like a separate like a marketplace. You can sell it for like Ethereum. So there's already that integration like NFTs with gaming, and I'm really excited about. Like I like to play games, even though I don't have as much time now with with the things I do and then family duties and all that. But I'm really excited to see like the integration of NFTs with gaming. And I know there's few games who do that. Like when you mentioned FIFA, there's actually a game. It's like a football game where you're like when the FIFA Ultimate Team, you have that, like a card like of your player. So like there's actually a game, I can't remember the name now. I actually Googled about it. So you have those cards, like same with FIFA, but they're actually NFTs. So you can trade. So let's say you draw Ronaldo, like a card of Ronaldo. You can actually go on a marketplace and sell that for I don't know, like 0.5 Ethereum, like and then you make a nice profit of NFTs. So look, there is integrate. I know Twitter has integration with NFTs. Instagram is going to have it soon. So again,
trying it out.
Look, there's a lot of talk about it, but again, until we see some like real life utility, like some proper utility, I think it's still like a very taboo kind of thing. But yeah, look, if you see all these famous people like owning NFTs, like that kind of encourages people to get into the the industry.
So you mentioned that some of the NFTs that you were looking at were on crypto.com. What were the NFTs that you were looking at? Like I know that there are many different types, but what were some that caught your eye?
So I own few. There's few like projects that promise play to earn games, or there's actually a project I'm involved with that has a lend to earn mechanism. Like that's what they're promising. So it's like actually like a basketball players. So they're like promising to build like a metaverse game, and you'll be kind of it'll be play to earn mechanism, but you'll be actually able to lend your. They're called ballies. you can be actually able to lend your Bolly to someone and like make some passive income. There's also like few projects, like mostly projects that kind of promise play to earn games. So what I get involved mostly in, they're called profile, like PFP, which means like stands like profile picture projects. So I think they're the ones that can be verified by Twitter. You know, like that in Twitter by if you have Twitter. So you have that like profile pictures in that circle, but you can actually have it like verified that it's your NFT. So if you put your NFT as a profile picture, you can actually verify it. And if they find you get like a hexagon kind of, yeah, yeah, look, it's just flexing, I believe, but for some reason people value that. And recently I actually created like a wallet, like a digital wallet for Solana, because I think like there's a platform called, or the marketplace called Magic Eden. It's like the largest marketplace for Solana. And I think they have like more interesting projects. Like a lot of them involve staking and like passive earnings and this. Ethereum, even though it's the biggest, like OpenSea being the biggest platform, I think the gas fees are absolutely crazy, and I think a lot of money goes to waste. So I can avoid Ethereum. So all of my NFTs for now are on Crypto.com, but I'm looking into Solana. I just like the minting of NFTs is late at night. So I still need. I have like 2.5 or 3 Solanas. They're ready. It's just, you know, I'd be going to bed when they mint those NFTs. So I still have to mint my first NFT on Solana.
Cool. How does the minting process usually work? Like, what do you actually do there?
It's actually so in those popular projects, like you actually have to get in a queue. So the queue opens an hour before the official mint. And then if you get a good queue like number, you just go in there. And like on crypto.com, it's much easier because it's just like you can actually you can pay in dollars, where like in Magic Eden, it has to be in Solana, so you have to have a separate wallet for it. But like once you get there, it's like, okay, it's your turn. They send you to this page where you can just buy. Usually there's like a limit, like you either buy like 2 or 3 per person, and you just mint them and you open the packs. So like most of these like profile picture projects that I minted, there's like 10,000 unique. So every NFT, they're like all one, like say Ballies, but they're all like, they all have different stats and different perks and this and that. So it's good, you know, you kind of have to be there an hour early. And I know with Solana, a lot of their projects have whitelist. Whitelist means that you kind of get to mint them before the public sale goes. So let's say if public sale is at 8 p.m., you can actually mint it at 6:30, so you don't have to queue with other people, and you kind of know that you'll get it. When like if you're on public sale, you might not even get a chance to mint it because there's like 5,000 people in front of you. So yeah, look, I think it's quite a painless process. The only thing I get frustrated sometimes with crypto.com, there was a mint, there was these alpha bots, they were like small robots, and I got there in the queue like an hour before, and I was waiting. I was so like excited about it, and then like 10 minutes before they give you a queue number, and I got number like 20,000 something, and there was only 10,000 of them. So you know, you kind of get a bit frustrated, like, oh my god, I'm so eager to kind of get my NFT, because like you're there an hour early, you're kind of making sure that the connection stays fine, that nothing happens. And then like you get this, but look, the number you get is randomly like generated. So look, it is.
Well,
you have to be like, it's not like completely passive. You have to be active there. But I kind of like, I'm having so much fun with NFTs. Like I've been in stocks for 2 years, crypto about a year, forex like a year and something. But I've never had as much fun as I have with NFTs.
Nice.
So
what actually happens if you don't mint your NFT? Like, do you have to wait for another minting round, or?
Well, look, if it's project you really want to get into, you kind of buy it off what's called secondary market. So you can actually buy it off someone who minted it. So like a mint is always like a fixed price. Usually it's like on crypto.com, it's usually like between $150 or $200. That's how much it usually is. But then look, on a marketplace, look, the floor price could be like 300, 400. Sometimes the floor price can be lower than the mint price. Rarely happens, but sometimes it does. So you can actually, so the first NFT I ever bought was the Alpha Bot. Actually, like there's usually a rank, if it's like a 10,000 like unique NFTs, there's usually a ranking list. So you can actually see like which rank is best. I looked like some of these, like I know I minted this mad hares, like the rabbits, bunnies.
Okay.
And the guy sold like number 2 rank for 27,000 and 27,500. And the guy who had the number 1 had an offer of 50,000 and he didn't sell it.
You didn't
So,
say.
you know, like if you get lucky, like you open one of 10,000 packs, you don't know which one you're gonna get. But like again, look, if you get 50,000 euros, like that's a money that could bring a nice. You could change life, yeah. So, but again, look, the alpha bot, I bought it off secondary market. It was like a rank 1,100 something. It was $500. I said, look, I'm gonna do it. I bought it like a few weeks later. I sold it for a nice profit. So I was like, sure, let's reinvest that money. So then I got 3 ballies. I sold 2 for a nice profit. I kept the best one. So what I usually do is like I buy, if the max mint is 3, I like to buy 3. I keep the best one. I sell the 2, and then cover the kind of minting fees and just kind of reinvest. That's my strategy for now.
Cool. And what gives them the rating? How hard they are? Is it like
it's the stats they have?
Picture?
Yeah,
the stats.
So it's like it has like laser eyes. So there's only like, let's say out of 10,000, there's only like 1% has the laser eyes. So now that's like or some of them have like 0% perks, which means that less than 100 have whatever,
wings.
Yeah, something. So. Especially like these ballies, they had like attack and defense stat, which is going to be used in this play to earn game. So yeah, look, there's certain stats, and then again, there's a ranking list which comes out usually as soon as mint is over, and then that kind of dictates the price. So if the floor price is 300, you know that if you have a rank 3,000, you know that it's usually a couple of hundred above the floor price. It's just fair.
Okay, cool. So things that I gather from this is you should definitely have a wallet from which you can mint the NFTs. You should pick a project that you like, kind of find out which things are more rare and which things are not as rare, and try to get the rare ones, right? And try to buy them, try to get on time and early in the minting process. So
you know what? The only prerequisite to make money is hype. I think that psychologically, like hype is what sells. Like if you Discord is a huge platform now for NFTs. Like if you want to get involved in NFTs, you need Twitter, you need Discord. But you need to get into these Twitter servers and you kind of see the hype that's kind of built around the project. So there was a thing on Solana. There was this project called OK Bears. Nothing special, just like animated bears, teddy bears. But there was so much hype, and then they were minting for $100, and like within 2 days, I think the floor price was 10,000. It's just it's hype. So again, just look for the projects that are really hyped. People are kind of getting all excited about it. Just buy those. I think that's and resell them. Like just make some profit and just say, woohoo, made some money on NFT.
Yeah, definitely. I like what Gary V is doing with his NFT project, where he's actually tying real world value to the NFTs. I think this is where those projects that survive will have to have something
utility. Yeah, there has to be
utility behind it. Yeah, and he's tying a conference to it now. So every NFT is like a ticket to a conference every year, and other perks like interview with Gary, FaceTime with Gary, like ping pong with Gary.
Actually, one of our clients actually bought one of WeFriends. I think she invested 20,000, and I think they're worth like 200 something.
Yeah,
the one she has. So it's a life-changing money now that we're talking about.
It is. Yeah, definitely. And I think Gary is on the right path. He gets this stuff, and especially social media stuff, and he surrounded himself with really quality people that can help him pull it off. So yeah, I think it's I'm actually sad that I didn't invest sooner into Gary, because I'm following him all the time, and I heard him talk about it, and I was like, maybe not now, and I just kind of skipped it, So definitely a lesson for the future, but hey.
Sure, look, there's always things that there's things you're gonna miss, and there's things you're gonna kind of jump on. So look, there's another opportunity coming your way, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I'm not worried, I think there's opportunity everywhere all the time. I think that just too many opportunities, and that you have to kind of select which ones not to go after and which ones you actually do want. And Gary's project would have been one of the ones that I would have want, because I kind of love his content and his energy and what he's talking about. So that's why I kind of regret it. But all the other ones that I didn't get into, I really don't, like regret, because I know that tomorrow someone's going to make a new NFT project that I can jump on and like get into, and like, because it's so new. And NFTs are not the only thing. Like we discussed so many topics today where they can actually change your life and like move you to a direction where you want to go, that I'm really not sad about it. Like I just look forward to the future and use that.
That's it.
Dušan, great episode, but at the end we always ask the question of how to find the gold in life. I asked you the last time, let me ask it to you again. What would you recommend to people searching for that gold in life, to find that something, how to do it?
Find a goal, find something you want to achieve, do or achieve. You need to be really excited about it. Okay, so it has to be something that really kind of gets the desire out of you, and then spend an hour a day at least finding out as much as you can about that one thing. So again, if you want to get into trading, okay, that's cool. Like, why do you want to do that? Like, and then really kind of go deep into why you want certain things. Usually it's money, but like, why, even like if you want money, like, why do you want money? So really kind of dig deep into why you want something, and then really like spend like at least an hour a day researching, studying all you can do about that thing that you're expressing interest in. And again, my biggest best suggestion is find a mentor. Really, like, work on yourself, but find someone who's going to push you. Because again, we tend to get comfortable. Like, we have people who say, you know what, I'm going to do it on my own. And I really believe like these people are trying. They buy books, they attend seminars, but we all drift. Like, if you don't have the right environment, you're going to drift. And I tell that to our clients. Like, I tell that to everyone. It's like, you need to be surrounded like 24/7. Like, our clients, like they get 5 coaching calls like from a mentor. They get one-on-one calls. We have the 6 a.m. club like Monday to Friday. So they're like constantly bombarded like with okay, study. And now you're surrounded, like, and you see people like share their wins, like, oh my god, I've earned X amount in last few days, I've achieved this win. And like, if you're constantly bombarded by that information and you're constantly surrounded by people like that, like, you're naturally going to grow. Like, it's just, it's as simple as that. So get that mentor again, who's going to push you, who's going to make you uncomfortable. Get someone who's going to be direct with you. That's really my the best advice I can give to someone.
Nice. I like it. Getting uncomfortable. Yeah. Sounds amazing. I think
and look,
people
especially in these, and especially look, as you said, it's online age. Don't be the one sitting on the sidelines. I'm not saying that everyone should get involved in crypto. I'm not saying that, but like, do a bit of research, like see what's out there. Like, I think there was never so many opportunities to make money as there are today. So again, it's not for everyone. I'm not saying that, but just give yourself some time, do a bit of research, see what's out there. Don't be the one sitting on the sideline and then in a few years say, it all seemed like I was skeptical about it 10 years ago. So just see what's out there. Be open-minded.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope that the advice and tips that Dušan shared helps you and stirs you into the right direction to change your life. That's what we're all about on this Uncle Gold podcast. Dušan, thank you for being the golden uncle for the audience and explaining stuff that works for you and sharing your thoughts. I always love having a chat with you. If anybody wants to follow your work or maybe join one of the groups, where can they find you? Where should they contact you?
I'm literally now on every social media. So Facebook, Instagram. Like, I mostly use Facebook and Instagram for my, for the personal development work that I do. And then Twitter is there mostly for NFTs, and Discord is also there. And then LinkedIn, I kind of use it, but I don't. But yeah, I kind of try to kind of keep that like for the job we're in, the company we're involved with, and the personal development side of things. So yeah, look, on every social media, I can send you the links and you can share them with the people who are watching.
Awesome. All right. We'll leave all the links below in the show notes. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next episode, guys. Hope you have a great day and loads of success.
The Uncle Gold Podcast.